In this video, we will show you how to convert your pressure fryer into an open fryer. Be advised, save all hardware that will be removed during this process. You will need to use some of the hardware when installing new parts and reinstalling old parts on your fryer. The following tools will be required to perform this task: a 3/4 inch wrench, a 9/16 deep well socket, a 5/8 inch nut driver or socket, a Phillips head screwdriver or screw gun, scissors, and protective gloves. The following parts will be required to perform this task. You will need a PS3172 pressure to open fryer conversion kit. Before removing parts, turn the fryer off and unplug it from the wall. Allow the oil in the fryer to cool. Once the oil is cooled, drain the oil from the fryer. Start by pressing down on the front lid lock and pull the handle towards the back of the fryer. Lift the fryer lid and remove the fryer lid from the back hinge block. Using a Phillips head screwdriver or a screw gun, remove the 4 screws that secure the backsplash. There are 2 screws on the left side and 2 screws on the right side. Once the screws have been removed, lift the backsplash up and away from the back of the fryer. Press down on the top of the muffler and pull the muffler away from the fryer at the bottom. Slide the muffler up to remove. Next, you're going to remove the 2 back panels from the back of the fryer. Start by removing the screws on the outer left side panel and then remove the screws on the outer right side panel. Once the screws have been removed from both panels, carefully pull each panel down and away from the fryer back. Remove the 2 top screws on the vent back. Lift the vent rod support up from the back of the fryer, then lift the dead weight up and out of the vent back. Next, using a Phillips head screwdriver or screw gun, remove the 2 bottom screws that hold the vent back assembly. Next, remove the 4 screws that secure the vent block. Pull the vent block off the fryer and remove the O-ring. Carefully remove the vent back from the fryer. Then carefully cut the zip tie that secures the vent wires to the insulation strap. Be careful not to cut the vent solenoid wires when cutting the zip tie. Warning: be sure to wear protective gloves when removing the vent tube and back hinge block, as well as when installing the vent tube plug and the hinge block hardware. The fryer frame may have sharp edges. Using a 3/4 inch wrench, remove the compression nut that secures the vent tube to the fryer. Then remove the vent tube. Using a 9/16 deep well socket, and starting with the middle nut, loosen and remove each nut that is securing the back hinge block. It is important that you start with the middle nut. Next, you will remove the retention plate and the washers. After the bottom hardware has been removed, lift up on the hinge block and remove from the fryer top. To make your older fryer into a safe open fryer, you'll need to install a few parts. Using the parts provided in PS3172 kit, Locate the vent tube plug, the ferrule, and the compression nut. Slide the ferrule and compression nut onto the plug. Slide the plug and ferrule into the vent tube opening and tighten the nut down with your hands. Then, using a 3/4 inch wrench, tighten the nut so the plug does not move. Remove the 3 bolts, the 3 large washers, the 3 small washers, and the 3 acorn nuts from the PS3172 kit. Place the large washer on one of the bolts and insert from the bottom up in one of the rear hinge block holes. Insert small washer, then attach the acorn nut and tighten. Repeat this process with the other 2 bolts. After you have all 3 bolts in place, use a 5/8 inch wrench or nut driver to tighten each bolt completely. Lift the vent back up and align the top holes with the top holes and grommets on the fryer back. Secure the vent back at the top using the 2 large screws that were removed. Then secure the bottom screws using the 2 smaller screws that were removed. Next, reattach the rear left and right panels. Start with the left panel. Slide the panel underneath the top of the fryer at an angle and align the hole on the top left side of the panel with the grommet at the top of the fryer on the side exterior. Be sure that the side panel is in between the top exterior and side exterior of the fryer. Have the bottom of the side panel on the outside of the fryer and insert the large screw through the hole on the bottom left side of the panel into the grommet located at the bottom left side of the fryer. Repeat the process for the right side. Then reattach the smaller screws on both panels. Reattach the backsplash. Ensure that the danger label is facing the fryer pot. There are 2 screws for each side of the backsplash. Reinsert screws and tighten. Lastly, replace the muffler onto the fryer. Your fryer is now ready for open frying.